everyone. Today we are looking at the TikToker MiracleMegs. Now, she definitely has some fat liberation-esque TikToks. There's only a few, and we're definitely going to go over them fairly in detail, but I'm also going to be showing some stuff regarding her mental health and her anxiety. Not to make fun. I really want to be clear, we're not making fun of it, but I think it gives some context as to why she latched on to the fat liberation movement. And there's going to be some stuff that maybe some people disagree with me on. Cynical Dude actually covered her at one point, and she has this thing about eating disorders. I kind of have some perspectives on her on what she calls an eating disorder, but it could very well be an eating disorder. I'm not trying to dismiss that at all, but I think it's more couched as like anxiety that expresses itself in different ways, and it's expressing itself through food at certain moments. And to a certain extent, I feel like she ruminates. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm already getting ahead of myself. So she doesn't have a huge amount, and we're going to skip all of these get ready with me's because there's just, you know what, we'll cover the first one. But we're going to cover her very first TikTok first.
My other account got banned because I said fuck in a comment.
I gotta be honest, so unfortunately, I never saw her original account. I don't know what her original account was, but I call bullshit on this. I call bullshit. I don't think you get an automatic ban for saying fuck in a comment. Other shit led up to that, and I'm very curious as to what it was.
Follow me here. Until further notice, I will be sleeping.
So that's very much kind of the style of TikToks that she does, not with the sleep, but like this kind of ooh-woo quirky type thing. She's, I think, about 23, so I'm not going to hate on her for it. That is a little bit of what we're getting into. Now, we'll watch the first Get Ready With Me, but then I'm going to skip the rest.
It's about damn time. In a minute, I'ma need a cinnamon.
I gotta be honest, perhaps this is just me. I don't want people to watch me, like, struggle getting into my pants or, like, that awkward shimmy that you do. I don't want that. I don't want people to see that. Am I just weird? Am I old now and that's, like, I'm just being weird about it? Personally, though, I don't really want a bunch of random people seeing me in my bra and underwear either. So, perhaps it's a me thing. That's what she does, like, 8 or 9 times. So we're gonna skip those.
70% of women in the United States wear above a size 16, but only...
Shout out to this creator because, oh my god, I would have went the fuck off on this person. I hate shopping online, so whenever I see something in a store that could fit me, I, buy it. No matter how little money or much money I have at the time, because I never know if I'm going to be able to find something that will fit me. When I go to Winners and I find a pair of pants or jeans, mine. Because there are no options, and I'm terrified of buying things online for the fear of them not fitting. And then you have to go through the return process, which just stresses the shit out of me. I bought from Shein once, last year. Nope, that was 2 years ago. I still have every single piece of clothing that I bought. Because I can't afford to throw things out. Because if I throw things out when I don't like them, I'm not going to have anything to wear. So whenever I buy something, I make sure that it's like a basic or a neutral or something that I know I'm going to love for a long time. Because I'm stuck with it, because I'm plus size.
70%.
So, the original comment that Jordan Hall, and we will be covering them later, I think. I'm pretty sure I have them saved. It says, don't forget about the environment and social problems from fast fashion, over-extraction of water, and human rights violations, just to name a few. And then they're kind of defending, buying something from a fast fashion place. Something that I'm going to reference more when we get to a different Megan, Megs for Fun, who I have some serious problems with. And I'm hoping she doesn't see this, and I'm hoping she doesn't delete the TikToks. But at one point it shows her going through her closets and getting rid of multiple garbage bags worth of clothes. Don't tell me you guys can't find clothes. You can find clothes. You just want to be like fashionistas or something, which fine, whatever. But if you're really that focused on being fashionable, because the big thing that I hear from the fat acceptance movement is not that they can't find clothes, it's that they can't find cute clothes. So they want fashionable whatever. And it's not that I'm shitting on that per se, but once we get to Megs for Fun, who is very about fashion, we'll see how wasteful it is. And it's like, bitches, you have more clothes than I do, and I'm significantly smaller than you. And this whole thing about if it fits me, I buy it. Well, this Megs, MiracleMegs, kind of paints it like she'll just take whatever she can get. But then in the same breath, she says, if I'm going to buy something, I always try to get a neutral or a basic because I'm stuck with it for a long time. Well, which is it? Because those are conflicting statements. Do you take anything that you can get, or do you focus on neutrals? Because those aren't quite the same thing. It could be and she talks also about being afraid of the return process. This is an ongoing thing, and this is what I mean about mental health, is that MiracleMegs seems to have some serious anxiety issues that I feel she projects onto a bunch of things rather than recognizing it as this kind of general anxiety that she has. And there's no fault in her for having anxiety. I want to be clear on that. But I think this is another example of how things like the fat acceptance movement kind of pull people in. Because if you notice, a lot of the fat acceptance people also have, mentally ill, or they list their, mental health issues or whatever on there. And I can't help but wonder, with MiracleMegs specifically, I'm not going to generalize, but with MiracleMegs specifically, it feels like she needs someone to blame for being so anxious. And we'll see this more later. We'll see her general anxiety and how she works herself up in just a few TikToks. But I feel like MiracleMegs needs a boogeyman, because otherwise she doesn't really know what to do with her anxiety. Just some thoughts. Just some thoughts I wanted to put out there. So that's all the video is. I did want to put this out here because I'm not out to demonize fat acceptance people. She clearly works out. She clearly enjoys weightlifting because she can leg press 540 pounds, which, damn, good for her. Good for you, girl. All for that. And we'll see. It's not even her eating issues. Honestly, my big thing with MiracleMegs is that, as we'll see later, we will see it. I promise we will see it. She has some major anxiety issues, and I feel like, because she's not against health-promoting behaviors. She's not against typical fitness stuff. She wouldn't be doing this if she was against typical fitness stuff. She clearly likes weightlifting. We'll see when she talks about safe foods, how perhaps her food choices are an issue that may lead to her weight issues. And also how I think she misunderstands what an eating disorder is, or at least an eating disorder in what she's trying to project. Because it's so hard to explain until we get there. But we'll get there. So the thing about this phrase that she has here, there is not one food that is worse for you than an ED. One, I think this is ignoring that binge eating disorder is also an eating disorder. So in that case, yes, if it's a trigger food that triggers you into a binge, it is worse for you than, well, or at least tied. It's connected to your eating disorder, at the very least. This also goes back to the fat acceptance dichotomy of you either eat in excess, and that's the healthy way of eating, or you have an eating disorder. That's like the dichotomy of eating habits in the fat acceptance movement. It's that and nothing else. MiracleMegs kind of puts this out there. I am seriously wondering if she got this from another creator, because this kind of reads, the way this is kind of set up, reads kind of like a trend that maybe I missed. it's purely rhetoric based. There's no real argument here. It's just an ideological piece of rhetoric. And this is why I have issues with MiracleMegs, and slightly connected to that is Fat Dr. UK, because Fat Dr. UK, while she does make some arguments, a lot of it is just kind of repeated ideology. Like, we've seen many times how Fat Dr. UK will just say, you know, it's not bad for you. Nope, it's not bad for you. And they don't like prop it up with anything. And then when they do provide evidence, it's weird evidence that, as a doctor, I'm pretty sure they know doesn't really support their argument the same way. MiracleMegs is in a slightly different category because she doesn't have that level of education, and I don't have the same expectations of her as I do Fat Dr. UK. She strikes me as very young. She's 23, and she strikes me as, I don't want to say immature, because that sounds like I'm putting her down. Just, I can't phrase it any better than very young, because there's just this air to her that we'll see even more, that, or perhaps I'm projecting here, because I see a lot of my serious anxiety issues that I had around her age, and a little bit younger, that I kind of see in her, so perhaps that's my own projection.
It is 1:14 in the morning, and I was like, why am I not tired? I should be tired. I should be going to sleep. No, because I forgot to take my fucking sleeping meds. And now I'm not going to be able to sleep, or I'm going to sleep for so long. I can either take my meds now and sleep till, like, God knows when tomorrow, or I can just not take them and not sleep. And the reason I forgot? My ADHD. I hate it here. Why do I need meds to sleep and to stay awake and keep focused? Like, brain, do better.
So this is another thing that I mean about, I think, and yes, I'm being completely armchair psychologist here. I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning. Armchair psychologist. I've taken like a couple of psychology classes. That's the extent of my knowledge. It's not very much. I'm more speaking primarily from personal experiences that I see in MiracleMegs. This whole one, she's spiraling here. We can see, because like she's kind of working herself up. One, she's ruminating. She's clearly cycling through the same thought pattern in her head. Two, she is catastrophizing, because she's like, I'm gonna take it now. If I take it now, I'll sleep until God knows when, and if I don't take it, I'm gonna not be able to sleep. And she's clearly like bouncing back and forth. There's this bit of franticness to her tone that to me reads as anxiety. There's this worry, I guess, that I'm sensing from her. And this is, I've struggled with sleep issues my entire fucking life. I understand this mindset, I do. And I'm hoping that eventually, so, little tip from someone who's just from experience, as someone who's been there, worrying about it makes it so much fucking worse. It makes it so much fucking worse. If you are the type of person that is going to spiral, it's better to distract yourself. Read a book. If you have a craft, do the craft. I wouldn't really recommend turning on TV or a screen or something, because there is the issue of blue light, and then there's also just, you want to distract yourself as a way to relax, not as a way to engage in something else. Which, it's a subtle difference, but the difference is there. You are doing it to take yourself out of the panic state, not to become overengaged in a storyline. If you have not spiraled yet, or are not spiraling, the better thing to do is to just lay down, relax, keep your eyes closed. Go into a fantasy, think up your own story in your head or something. The point is just to be relaxed and restful. The truth is that one night of no sleep, it sucks. You'll be tired the next day, but it's not horrible. Even if you have to be active the next day, it's really not that bad. It's tough the first time, but when you've, like, if it's a little bit of an issue, don't panic over it. one night of no sleep, it sucks. It does. It sucks. But it's not, like, detrimental. It's not detrimental. Once you get to 2-3 nights no sleep, yeah, it becomes much harder to relax. It becomes much harder to rest. I once went 5 nights with no sleep. That was not sleeping related. That was a bad reaction to some medication that caused a whole host of issues. But once you get to 5 nights with no sleep, you don't fucking function. Like, I couldn't see straight. Like, it was blurry. My vision was just blurred. Like, I could not see anything. So, one night no sleep is not going to be that detrimental to you. It sucks. It's going to be kind of a crappy day the next day, but you'll be okay. If it becomes a regular issue, definitely talk with your doctor about it. But if it's one night no sleep, sucks, but you'll get through it. Do highly recommend laying down and just resting as much as you can, though, because even that act of resting is going to make the next day easier, even if you don't sleep. So, something to note here is the little description thing we have over here. 2 a.m. TikToks, and you don't think I'm going to be crying incessantly. LOL, jokes aside, on you, sometimes life hits a bit harder at night. One, it hits harder at night because you're fucking exhausted. An exhausted mind, a hungry mind, any mind that is not working at its most optimal level, you're going to feel something. Night is definitely a time where it's easier to ruminate. There's not as much occupying you. It is easier. And to me, what this looks like, and this is why I tie it back to anxiety, because it started off with something regarding her sleep. Here she is talking about this fat funny friend trend that we'll see on a couple of others, and a couple of the other creators get big mad about the skinnies using it. Not MiracleMegs so much, but I think that this again lends to the anxiety thing where she's ruminating on the sleep, so she gets up and she's trying to do something else. Well, now she's ruminating on the fact that she's fat, and then she has like the self-acceptance issue, and she's spiraling on that now. And the thing is that I want to point out that this is very much kind of a trap you can get into your own mind. Again, what she needs right now is not social media, not her phone, not that kind of distraction. She needs a puzzle, or a book, or a drawing pad, or something. So write down all these thoughts in something. Just get it out, but do it in a productive way. I don't really feel like this is productive. I could be wrong. Perhaps this was productive for her. If the goal is to eventually be able to sleep, or at the very least rest, I don't think that this was helpful to her.
I've drawn out in Sharpie where I take the scissors if that's what it took for me to.
So here you basically get, and she's even saying less than 24 hours later. So this is the day after the night of no sleep. Same song, different reaction. And the reason why this is because you're not obsessing. You're not obsessing, and I know that we haven't really gotten to a whole lot of fat acceptance content. We're getting there, I promise. I am laying a groundwork here, because it directly relates to some of the things that she does later. She is ruminating here. She's focusing on the no sleep, or on the not self-acceptance, or on whatever internal issue she has. But because she let that go, and maybe she did get a little sleep, maybe she didn't, it's kind of irrelevant. Here, she's, during the day, she has other things to occupy her time. She's not just kind of focusing on her own thoughts here.
Sometimes my brain goes on, like, really long tangents, and then that's when I start getting gender dysphoria. Because I was just watching a TikTok, and it was like, money, we're in a deficit right now. But what is money? Money? We created money. So, how?
And again, this kind of reads like something, and I'm sorry, I know I keep going on stuff that isn't fat acceptance. I promise we're getting there. But I have to point these things out because it's a pattern in her behavior that I think lends to the fat acceptance stuff. So she goes, what is money? We created money. This is a line that I've heard from a lot of people that don't understand that money was originally a placeholder, because before we would trade things, we would trade grain for wool or what have you. And sometimes someone needs to trade for something, but they don't have what the other person wants. So money became a placeholder because money could be used for anything and it would still work. So you didn't have to have something that someone wanted as long as you had the money. So this kind of one-dimensional look of what is money? We created money. As though money is just a construct. It is, but it's a construct that serves a specific purpose. And anyone that thinks that we can just go back to like trading things, I think misses the exact point of why we moved away from that. And this just kind of reads to me, again, like she was told something or she watched something and she goes, oh yeah, that makes sense. And she's just repeating it without looking into it more. She's taking the sound bite. She takes the sound bite of things and incorporates it into just her like singular ideology on that topic. And again, we'll see this with fat acceptance as we go forward.
Why do we care about money? Money is so stupid. Like, who cares? No. And then it's like, society tells me that I have to be feminine as a woman. What the fuck is society? Society is a bunch of people that are literally just assholes. I don't want to listen to.
So again, this is a very one-dimensional view of it. Society, there's a general level of expectation of femininity, but like that's going away pretty staunchly, except in maybe certain professions, which I don't get the feeling that MiracleMegs wants to be in. As a general day-to-day life, most people don't give a fuck. Most people really don't care. We'll watch the rest of this.
Fucking society. I'm gonna be whoever the fuck I want to be, and that's when the gender dysphoria starts.
I don't really understand the connection there, but I've never had gender dysphoria, so I'm not really commenting on that. I just wanted to comment on the bits of her kind of one-dimensional view of money and how she understands it, and that perception of expectations on society. And there's a phenomenon that happens with teenagers called the invisible audience. It's this feeling that they're constantly being watched. And for some reason, I get that feeling from MiracleMegs. Even though she's in her 20s, I feel like she's still at that stage where she's thinking about people watching what she's doing. Eventually, you understand perspectives. You understand the optics of something. But it's not like you have that feeling that people are watching you even when you're alone and you're worried about like what your image would be. And I don't know why I get that feeling from her, but I do.
Hey, fun little tidbit. If you don't like the way you look, and you say, I feel so fat, or I look so fat, that tells me that the worst thing that you can think of is looking like me. And that fucking hurts. And it also negates every single time that you have ever called me beautiful. Hey,
So again, this reads like, because we've seen plenty of fat creators, fat TikTokers do this. This sounds almost word for word like something someone else has said. She says here, your negative self-image does not give you the right to tear down every person that is bigger than you. And I understand that even the TikTokers, the fat acceptance people that started this still don't even see it this way. But there are plenty of people. This is like a fairly normal thing. I guarantee that these people do it, maybe not with this specific issue, but I guarantee that they do it in something. Where it's like, does my butt look too small in this or too big? Well, are you saying that people with smaller or bigger butts are ugly? No. It's a matter of what you want for yourself. Saying that I look fat or I feel fat is a matter of a perception of yourself that you want, an idea. Everyone has their own individual idealized self that they want to be. Sometimes, and it's a culmination of things. It can be physical, it can be how they handle conflict, it can be how they handle a variety of social situations, it can be the skills that they have, the hobbies that they have, who they're connected to, whatever. Everyone has this idealized self in their mind. We're either working to achieve it, adjusting our sense of idealized self to more match who we are now so we don't have to change. It tends to be a defense mechanism, or there's like other defense mechanisms where it's like, I may not be, we create outside excuses for why we aren't our idealized self. And I feel like this is what the fat acceptance people, MiracleMegs, is doing it here, where it's like, struggle with my view of myself being fat. Likely because that's not her idealized self. I'm not, again, armchair psychology here. Armchair psychology. But instead of thinking, it doesn't match my idealized self, therefore I should work on losing weight to get to closer to my idealized self. No, it's you. You who said you feel fat, and therefore you're saying you don't like the way I look. It's a matter of twisting the perspective so that way they don't have to be responsible for their own feelings. When in reality, everyone has a perspective of themselves that they want. Me saying I look fat or I feel fat is because I don't want to be fat. I don't necessarily have any problems with you being fat. I don't, with all due respect, you're not that important to me. I'm important to me. I'm important to me. I want to do whatever it is that I want to do. And if someone said, does this make me look short? Are you saying that you hate people that are shorter than you? No. No, you're not. You just know how tall you can look in things, and you know if your legs look shorter in relation to your torso and what you like in that way and what you don't. Doesn't mean you're putting down short people. You can say, does my hair look frizzy, when you don't have typically frizzy hair? Are you saying that people that have naturally frizzy hair and struggle to control the frizz, and some people that have just maybe said, fuck it, I don't care anymore, are you saying that their hair is ugly? No, not necessarily. You're saying you don't want your hair to be frizzy. Because in reality, outside of maybe like middle and high school, what other people are doing and how other people choose to present themselves isn't typically very important to you. Because you're worried about you. You're concerned about you. You're concerned about how you are perceived. How other people are perceived in general tends to be incidental. It doesn't really matter unless they are egregiously outside social norms. A person like MiracleMegs, who hair looks fine, looks clean, her clothes look fine, she approaches me, I'm not thinking shit about her appearance. I'm not. I don't really care. She fits within the social norm enough. She looks clean and looks dressed. That's about the extent that most people think about other people's appearances. So I was about to say, this again sounds like something she took, but it is. It is. She even has the comment here. Ascribing morality to food is inherently problematic. I gotta be honest. So let's read this. You're not really replying to her, honey. You're just taking what she said and making a TikTok of it. Thank you for your comment. We all deserve to eat and enjoy food. Nourish your body so you can move more, love harder, and become stronger. You deserve to eat. You need to eat. She's eating an apple, which would, based on their morality thing that I never really think of, quite frankly, it's never been a matter of morality for me. Eat what you want. I don't really care. The issue that people have isn't that, well, at least the issue that I have, I'm not going to speak for everyone. The issue that I have isn't that you eat cake or donuts or whatever. I really don't give a fuck. What pisses me off is that you eat all of this shit, get massively overweight, and then are offended when people have before and after pictures, are offended when people don't find you attractive, are offended and call it oppression when you can't find fashionable clothes in your size. Blame healthcare workers when they struggle to help you. Like, it wasn't MiracleMegs, but there was someone, I hope I find it. There was someone that said, I think it was actually Fat Sapphic Bro, that said, if healthcare workers can't lift me without hurting themselves, that sounds like a training and equipment issue, not an I'm too fat issue or something along that line. And it's like, bitch, what? So it's not about, for me, it's not about food. It's about the consequences of the choices that you made without you taking any responsibility for it. And I have a hard time getting actually mad at MiracleMegs because I really feel like she is a naive young person that doesn't fully understand what she has signed up for. And she's just kind of going with it. She's going with it because it sounds good. It does. A lot of the fat acceptance tidbits and what sound bites sound good, especially as a way to kind of excuse your behavior, excuse your own behavior to yourself. They do. They sound good. The issue is that when you actually take a moment to really consider the sound bites, they're fucking stupid a lot of the time. And those that aren't stupid are often grounded in complete misinformation.
Hello everyone, I just washed my hair. Don't comment on the hair towel. If you do, you're homophobic. Anyway, I'm having a really hard time eating today. And I know that a lot of people have a really hard time eating all the time. So, let's do this together. I am making a sandwich and I am needing to add pickles because if you don't like pickles on your sandwich, we can't be friends. So what do I have on my sandwich so far? I have this jalapeno lime aioli, mustard, mayo, some spinach, tomatoes, and then I also have ham and turkey on here because we're just being bougie today. And my mom...
So the thing is that she says that she's having a hard time eating, and I think that this is centered in what she later kind of... She never fully says eating disorder, but it seems tied to that concept. And, I mean, she doesn't know anyone an explanation. She doesn't. I just can't... I'm a little bit like, what part of, like, eating are you struggling with? Are you like, I don't want to get... Is it that internal rumination? I mean, she does seem a little prone to, like, rumination and spiraling thoughts. And it's like, is it that you're... Like, am I just going to get bigger? And it's like a hating yourself sort of issue? Is it that you're nauseous or just not hungry? Or, like, is it a physiological issue? Is it an emotional issue? Is it a psychological issue? What does that mean that you are having a hard time eating today? And we get a tiny bit of clarification right here. Part 1, sandwich time, eating sucks. You have to do it 3 times a day, every day, for the rest of your life. It seems so repetitive and unnecessary. I hate figuring out what to eat. So perhaps, okay, I understand that. Like, you go back and forth. It's like, I don't know what to eat. Nothing sounds good. Nothing. Like, I understand, like, that, where it's like, I'm kind of hungry. I should eat, but nothing sounds good. But I'm getting hungry, and I can't focus on anything else because I'm hungry. But I don't really like the sound of anything available. She's making this, though, so it seems like she settled on something. But I have to remind myself that there is no good food or bad food, there's just food. So again, though, I hate figuring out what to eat, but I always remind myself there is no good food or bad food. Those two sentences don't really seem tied together, and this is why I feel like MiracleMegs takes the sound bites into her ideology without fully understanding them. And perhaps this is... Again, I know I'm probably going to sound like a bitch here. There's something about her TikToks in particular that feel disingenuous to me. Not that she is deliberately trying to fool someone, but that she's like, it's almost like an anxiety of, I should feel this way in order to fight against it, or I'm not really in the fat acceptance community. I get that feeling. From her TikToks, and we'll see it even more as we go through these.
Prepared a plate of meats, and she had ham and turkey on, so I want ham and turkey. Also, I don't know if I'm the only weird person that dries off their pickles before putting them on the sandwich, but look how good that looks. Look at that monstrosity!
See, she seems excited about the sandwich. She went through a lot of trouble to make a very nice looking sandwich, a big sandwich, which is why I get confused on the next one. And feel free to, like, point out and educate me on this if I'm completely off the mark. But there's something... We'll get there.
But we can't just eat. No. We're drinking beverages, too. What mug should I choose for my coffee? The cows, of course. Decaf, because ADHD meds. Yes. Do-do-do.
I gotta be honest, I drink coffee for the caffeine. I mean, I've grown to have some sort of taste for it, but it's not like a go-to beverage for me, especially with that in it. Like, I don't really like drinking my sugar and calories if I can at all avoid it. I have my morning coffee because I need it to function at this point, but who wants coffee with a sandwich? I mean not one, but yeah, had a couple of points, but now that I think about it, who wants coffee with a sandwich? I have a family member that drinks coffee with every fucking meal, and I don't understand it. Coffee with that kind of sandwich sounds gross to me.
And ginger ale. And a little bit of grenadine. Oh, that was a lot. This is why I leave room to add more. So now we have for fun, for hydration, and quote-unquote energy. Okay.
I don't really understand the purpose of the drink, and you're not getting. I mean, you there is still a little bit of caffeine in decaf, but I mean, why would you drink decaf coffee for energy? I understand wanting a flavored drink with your meal. I don't really do it anymore. I like to just drink water, but fine, whatever. And then having the water to kind of go back and forth. I did that when I was trying to cut down on like my flavored drinks with meals, and that was a way to kind of wean myself off. I don't think that's what she's doing here, but that's a lot of liquid. That's a significant amount of liquid, and it kind of brings us to our next TikTok, but we'll get there.
I'm officially ready. Was I making those beverages to put off eating? Yes, but now I'm going to eat the sandwich.
Okay. Again, I don't really, like she said she's trying to put off eating. So beverage time. I love beverages, especially cold ones. Can you tell? I don't understand. Like she says she's trying to put off eating, so perhaps it is supposed to be like I don't want to eat. I don't really understand. And perhaps this is just me not understanding eating disorders. Also, if you were trying to put off, here's the thing that I don't really understand, and perhaps it's not a typical eating disorder. Perhaps that's my issue now that I think about it. I'm trying to see this through the lens of like anorexia, and that's not what it is. Because I'm like the coffee with the flavoring has calories in it. There's calories in ginger ale with the grenadine. Not like a huge amount, I don't think, but enough to add to the meal.
Okay. The sandwich is a bit scary for me. So I'm eating peas first. I always try to eat the thing that I'm least scared of first. Kind of work my way up to the...
Okay, perhaps, I didn't read these when I first went through this, so perhaps that's why. That will add some context. Lunchtime. I'm not going to lie. It took me 40 minutes after making the sandwich to sit down at the table, and another 20 minutes after that to take a bite of the sandwich. Not because I didn't want to eat or because it didn't look delicious, but because eating is hard sometimes. Recovery is not linear, and I am proud of you for getting to where you are. I am so confused. Was it that you couldn't eat the sandwich? Again, I think I'm trying to tie it back to like the, big ED, and perhaps that's my mistake. Perhaps this is a legitimate thing. I don't know why. So I'm going to come off as a total bitch, but even now, it still kind of reads as forced and more like, rather than it being an eating disorder specifically tied to food, it feels like more of, well, no, I guess that would still be an eating disorder if it was stemmed from anxiety over eating for some reason, like generalized anxiety that becomes attached to food. I guess it would still be an eating disorder now that I think about it. There's just something about this, though, even with the anxiety connection, it feels forced.
Terrifyingness. But you know what? As long as you are nourishing your body and you are trying, that's the most important part. Recovery isn't fast, and unlearning terrible eating habits doesn't happen in a day. You're not going to wake up one morning and not be scared of eating. It takes time. especially when you're taking medication.
Again, I kind of feel like she's working herself up here, and that's tied to like my anxiety perspective with her, is that she seems to be kind of working herself up to even more. Perhaps this is an eating like an actual eating disorder, and it's something I'm not very familiar with. Again, I'm really not trying to be a bitch. There's just something about this that feels like she is, even with the anxiety disorder, even if this like sort of behavior is like an eating disorder that I'm just not familiar with, or is a natural form of eating disorders that I just, as someone who doesn't experience it, doesn't understand it. There's something about her TikTok here that feels performative. It feels performative. And feel free to dislike this video. Feel free to give me 1,000 hate comments. It's fine. I'm genuinely, there's something about this here that she's like, it feels like this is what I'm supposed to be doing to show that fat liberation needs to take hold in society or something. It feels like it's done to be part of like the fat liberation community or something.
That suppresses your appetite. Lots of people don't know this, but ADHD meds and a lot of SSRIs, which are used to treat depression and anxiety, are also used to treat binge eating disorder and therefore can suppress your appetite.
So, not denying that it doesn't suppress her appetite, but I think by drinking the coffee and the grenadine with ginger ale and the water, liquid fills you up a lot too. I drink coffee and a protein shake for breakfast, so not as heavy in hers are not as heavy in calories as my breakfast is. But even if like I'm hungry and I drink a bunch of water, I don't eat as much food. So if you have something that suppresses your appetite and then you drink a bunch of liquid on top of it, you're not necessarily going to be very hungry. And I don't know if she connects that.
But I believe in you and I believe in me, kind of. All you have to do is take a bite. And then your sandwich is basically done. I believe in you.
I don't know, there's something about, especially like that, and it just feels so performative to me. It feels, oh god, I know this is gonna sound like a bad take, but it does feel disingenuous to me. It doesn't feel, it feels like an act she's putting on, or perhaps something she's worked herself up into, but it doesn't feel something that is naturally occurring within her. I don't know.
Funny. Yes, but not funny, haha. Funny fat-phobic.
And this just seems like something, like I think she did it because it came to her with the different, and she's like, this fits perfectly into the rhetoric that she's kind of adopted, the sound bites that she's adopted. I think I don't even think that necessarily had a point or anything connected to it. I think she just thought it sounded good to appeal to the fat liberation movement. I'll have concluding thoughts at the end of this, actually. I'm not going to put them here.
Anyway, I am having a really hard time eating today. And I know that a lot of people find it really funny when people send me hate. Because do you really think your words, the words of a complete stranger, are going to hit any harder than my own words against me? Than my mother raising me to hate myself? Than getting bullied for my size? Babe. I've been emotionally traumatized for about 17 years now. I'm 22, and I don't remember the majority of my childhood. So do you really think that a comment like this from a hypocrite like you is going to do anything? Needless to say, I blocked them and deleted the comment because no one needs to see that. But if your treat people with kindness is limited to the people that you perceive as good and righteous in the world, you're not treating anyone with kindness. You're just a fucking asshole. Have a great day. Anyway,
fair enough, he was being a little hypocritical, but it's not something I would have posted, although I am making this video, so I guess if anything, I'm worse. There is something about those series of videos that seems performative. It's not a matter of, at least for me, it's not a matter of pointing out your weight. It's that something about your behavior reads as an act to me. There's something about the way that you're making those specific three that just reads like it's an act. I'm not trying to invalidate anyone with this, but there is something about it that, like, you say you made it and it took 40 minutes and then another 20 minutes to eat. So, like, you were an hour sitting there for an hour with the sandwich, not eating. There was something about the end of that video that just said the whole thing was an act to me.
At 10, I wasn't hungry, so I didn't eat. Then I was like, know what? No, I need to eat food. So I got out all the stuff, and I
So here's the thing. If you're not hungry, you don't have to eat food. For full disclosure, I do eat in the morning regardless of whether I'm hungry or not, only because I won't get another chance to eat for 5 hours. And one time I did try to listen to my body and not eat breakfast because I wasn't hungry, and I fucking regretted it and hit a hard wall and crashed because I am on my feet. In 3 hours, I get 8,000 steps because I am running from child to help them constantly. Like, it's just me doing that for 3 hours. And when you're doing that on no food, it fucking sucks. So I do, like, eat in the morning. If you're not planning, though, like, on the weekends, I don't eat necessarily right when I get up. If you're not going to be in a situation where you're not going to be able to eat for a while, if that's not your situation, it's okay to not eat just because it's morning and it's breakfast time. If you're not hungry, unless you have, like, medication that says take with food that you're supposed to, then I understand it. But, like, none of those situations seem to apply here. It's 10 a.m., you haven't eaten, you're not hungry. That's okay. You don't have to eat. Today's proving to be difficult. It's hard every day, but today especially is going shit. I love crepes, they're delicious, but the smell of them and the thought of food is killing me slowly.
procrastinated making it. And now I have made the food. It is homemade French crepes. And if I eat one, I think I'm going to vomit. I feel awful. I don't want to eat, and I know that I need to. This used to be one of my favorite foods, and now smelling it makes me nauseous. My safety foods are dwindling.
Okay, so my safety foods are dwindling. That wasn't what... Crepes don't strike me as, like, a safety... Crepes are fairly high in calories, aren't they? I thought safety foods were like, foods that were... So, I don't know a whole lot about eating disorders or anything, but I thought safety foods, much like Cynical Dude, I thought safety foods were the thing where it's, like, it's not super high in calories or like not high at all in calories. It's not a matter of it not even being super high. It's a matter of it not being high in calories at all. And so therefore it's safer to eat. It's safe to eat. Over the course of this channel, I have watched a couple of Pro Anna videos just to kind of try to understand a little bit more. And everything that I've seen, it's about, like, trying to not eat as much as you can until the hunger becomes overwhelming, and then you have something very small. Like, that was the general feeling I got from those not TikToks, but those videos. Crepes are not something I would ever associate with a safety food, except in the case of those with, I guess it also is an eating disorder, but there was, like, does anyone remember the show Freaky Eaters? There was a woman that could only eat potatoes. Like, I think it was, like, specifically fries. And, like, she couldn't even handle when the fries had food coloring on them. Because her, like, for whatever reason, her ability to... there was something genetically with her. I remember. There was something genetically with her that made it very difficult for her to eat any other food. And, like, she worked up to eating some other variations of potatoes, but she struggled with anything that wasn't potatoes. But again, MiracleMegs doesn't strike me as that person that struggles to eat outside of a very limited window of foods, and crepes was, like, just happened to be one of those. Like, we saw the sandwich, there was a variety of different foods and textures and macro content in those that doesn't strike me as her issue either. So again, and with this, I'm nauseous and my safety foods are dwindling, this again kind of leads to what we saw with her when she was trying to sleep, with her kind of spiraling in this. Maybe my question for her, quite frankly, with this is, what did you eat the day before? What did you eat yesterday? Because I think this was a couple of days after the sandwich. So what did you eat the day before? Because I can tell you, I've had a couple of days where I had like a really shitty eating day and I ate nothing but like fried foods and carbs and stuff. I didn't want carbs the next day. I couldn't, again, this smell of the what was it that someone brought home? I think they brought home donuts, or no, they brought home bread. It was just like this fresh bakery bread, and they're like, doesn't it smell so good? And I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't want the bread, because if the smell of the bread made me nauseous because I had nothing but like carbs and shit the day before. What sounded good to me was cheese and like deli meat. That's what I want. I didn't want carbs in any form. I didn't want fruits. I didn't want vegetables. I wanted cheese and protein. Like, that was the extent of it. That was all I wanted. There's a chance that your body is just saying, I don't want fucking more carbs. I don't want more carbs. Give me some chicken. Like, there's a chance that could be part of what's going on here.
And I don't know what to do. But it's fine. We're fine. It's fine. Treatment for my ADHD isn't ruining my life. Definitely not decreasing my appetite to the point where I can't fucking eat. I'm so tired all the time because I don't have energy because I'm not eating.
That's not necessarily, like, you say I'm so tired all the time because I don't have energy because I'm not eating. And I don't mean this maliciously, but that doesn't really seem to be the case. Chances are it could be more like, well, I guess when you're sedentary, like when I was sedentary when I was younger, kind of around her age, I was always tired too. Lack of movement leads to more lack of movement, and you know what facilitates lack of movement? Sleeping. Just a possibility.
A lot of people that I know would say, wow, you're doing great. You've lost 30 pounds in the past 6 months. But that 30 pounds is from lack of nutrition.
She's catastrophizing here. And 30 pounds in 6 months would be like 5 pounds a month, wouldn't it? Yeah, about 5 pounds a month. That's really not, that's like a relatively modest calorie decrease. That's not unreasonable. If we separate that by week, assuming there's 4 weeks in a month, it's like 1.25 pounds per week. That's not terrible. That's not, and I don't think that would be, that level of weight loss to me doesn't seem like something that would make her tired all the time. So to me it sounds like something else. And I guess lack of nutrition could be an issue if you're eating nothing but junk. Maybe what your issue is, maybe go back to your doctor. Do you have, with you not, your ADHD meds kind of decreasing your appetite, are you foregoing like key foods that had iron or something in it, that maybe you're low on iron? Maybe this is a dietary change that needs to happen. Not necessarily taking in more food, but taking in different food.
It's because I'm not eating. I'm not going to the gym, but at least I'm thinner, right? I'm suffering.
So she's spiraling herself, and this is definitely her. She references her ADHD a lot. She did reference something about an SSRI with anxiety and depression. I don't know if she's on that. If she is, it's not helping her, because she seems to just be constantly spiraling. Like, there's always something that she's like focused on in such a way that she seems to be exacerbating her own anxiety. The thing is that she creates this boogeyman of, oh, well, people are saying that I'm doing a good job because I lost 30 pounds in 6 months, but it's from lack of nutrition. And it doesn't, rather than, I don't know what's causing her anxiety that she's projecting it onto food. Maybe it's just that she's struggling to adjust to her medication. It could be a side effect of her medication. But then she's projecting it onto food and then connecting it to fat liberation as a way to deal with the anxiety, rather than perhaps questioning and bringing this to her doctor that she's experiencing a lot of anxiety over the side effects of her ADHD meds. Perhaps there's an interaction going on. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with her. I don't think she puts a lot of it on food, and I gotta be honest, from looking at her stuff, I don't think that's the issue.
I want thin people who feel insecure in their bodies to feel better, because everybody deserves to feel confident and beautiful. But if the way that you feel better in your body is being reassured that you don't look like me, not only is that harmful, but I don't think it's actually helpful to you. And I wish people would think about that when they post things and use the hashtag body positivity. Because, and we're not even going to unpack this really right now, but body positivity is actually about access and liberation. But you know what? I want you to feel good. I want you to feel body positive. But is it really body positive if you're bringing other people down to feel better? Personally, I don't really see how that's helpful to anybody. So yeah, I want you to feel good in your body, but I don't think being told that you don't look like me is the way to go. Go find actual body positivity. It's pretty awesome.
I wish this wasn't so vague, and so that way I could get a better idea of what exactly she's referring to. But if this goes back to the "I'm not really fat" comment, see earlier in the video. Equating me not wanting to be fat, equating me not wanting to look a certain way with somehow being an attack on you is unreasonable. It's, again, like I said, I'm not really concerned with how anyone else looks. I'm concerned with how I look. And I think that the vast majority of people, barring those that fall very far outside the norm, feel the same way.
Let me just make this statement right here. If you choose not to educate your kids on fat phobia, especially when they embarrass you in public by commenting on someone being fat, I'm going to, as a fat person, educate your child. I just had a little kid say to me, "Wow, you're big." And I said, "Yes, I am, and I love it." And we smiled and we let it go. But his mom was like, "Oh, don't be disrespectful. Don't be rude." There's nothing wrong with being fat. The fact that he said I was fat or that I was big wasn't the problem. It was your response. A lot of you parents keep telling your children that being fat is a problem. Being fat is something you should be ashamed of. So when they see someone as fucking fabulous as myself being fat and proud, it confuses them just like it confuses you. So instead of saying, "Don't say that, that's rude," say, "What's wrong with being fat? What's wrong with being skinny?" It's just an adjective to somebody. That's okay.
Except the vast majority of people are not in your fucking fat liberation movement. For the vast majority of people, they don't want to hear a small child say, "Look at that fat person, mommy." No, like the majority of people don't want to hear that. Oh my god, and the thing is that even if you pointed that out to them, they would just say that that's fat phobia, and it's just, there's no winning with this argument because the way they have it worked out is that no matter what you do, you're basically wrong. There's no way to kind of explain how your little bubble of fat liberation doesn't really transfer to the general society. So to expect us to cater to your small minority of people at the expense of everyone else is dumb. It's generally considered, and here's the thing, it's generally just considered rude to comment on people's appearance and their bodies out loud in public. It's considered rude. The most obvious situation of that is fat. But if someone was like, "Mommy, look at that guy doesn't have hair," that would be seen as rude too. "Mommy, look at that guy has glasses, really big, thick glasses," that would be rude too. "Mommy, look at that woman's hair is really thin. It's like stringy. It's almost not there." That would be rude too. Mom, like, it's just, "Mommy, look at that ugly dress." It's rude. No matter what. The point is just to teach the kid not to comment on people's bodies and their appearance in public. And it's not right to do it behind closed doors either, but plenty of people do it. It's kind of that, it's just, again, like, kids are not aware of the optics. Parents are making them aware of the optics.
Fellow fat people, what's something that you do that you're pretty sure really pisses off thin people?
I go to the gym and I can leg press over 500 pounds. Try doing that when you're like 100 pounds and have absolutely no muscle mass.
I don't know anyone that, honestly, we've seen plenty of full body shots of MiracleMegs. She does kind of look like someone that maybe eats too much but still works out a lot. And in fact, she was commenting about how she lost 30 pounds in a month. Perhaps it's all the workouts. Like, it doesn't... They always say that viewing any, like, weight gain as a bad thing is fat phobic. I think trying to view every bit of weight loss as something to be concerned about isn't a good idea either. MiracleMegs, yes, she's bigger, but, like, her legs are easily the most toned part of her. I wouldn't be offended if she was there leg pressing 540 pounds. Like, and most people at the gym, at least as far as I know, I don't really go to the gym, to be honest, but most of the stories that I've heard of the gym, of people, like, trying to get stronger and stuff, people in general are supportive, and those that aren't and are rude and stuff typically get, not harassed, but either kicked out or told off by the regulars. In just from the stories I've heard, like, that tends to be the more regular thing. So, did someone come up to you? Did she say anything here? People get mad at fat people for absolutely everything. Sorry, I'm not gonna stop my gains to make you feel better about not being able to lift a toothpick, Lauren. Honey, where, though? Where? Also, for anyone feeling attacked, it's just a joke, bro. It's not a matter of anyone feeling attacked. I'm just genuinely confused. Because, again, with things like this, I'm like, can you give me an example? Did someone actually approach you and was angry that you were a fat woman leg pressing at the gym? Was someone genuinely upset about that? Because I find that hard to believe. So I'm stopping this here, not because of the video, but because I think it's worth notice, because we know that she leg presses, but notice how her upper body doesn't look as toned as her legs. I just thought it was interesting. I thought it was worth mentioning. Again, the leg pressing, I don't think people would get mad about that.
I am so proud of myself. Would you like to know why? Because I'm wearing this bikini. And that's good enough. I'm proud of myself for that, because literally 6 months ago, a year ago, I wouldn't even imagine owning something like this, something this revealing. And now I'm wearing it. And I have 4 bikinis, and one of them is a string bikini that I haven't been able to wear yet. But, like, this is my body, and it does what I need it to do, and it's beautiful just the way it is. And every body is a bikini body. Just wear sunscreen. Everyone needs sunscreen. But, like, just be proud of yourself and of your accomplishments, and, like, you'll get there, and I believe in you.
Again, with, like, the everybody's a bikini body that she just kind of threw in there, again, it just feels like she kind of really hangs on to those sound bites. But, I mean, if you struggled to put it on because you were self-conscious, I mean, good for you for putting it on.
People only. How do you understand the term mid-size?
There is no such thing as mid-size. Don't believe me? I'll prove it to you. This is the fat spectrum.
See, this is, again, she got this somewhere, she takes it as the ideology, and she uses it as proof that there is no such thing as mid-size. And it's like, it doesn't, with MiracleMegs specifically, I really get the feeling that she genuinely just doesn't think deeper about anything. It's like, honey, you realize, though, that someone just came up with this. It's not something that's welcomed in the medical community. It's not something that was created by a team of experts in fatness. It's something that someone just kind of literally put together. Like, there was no board of fat trustees that put together the fatness spectrum. This was something that an idea that someone had. They put it together to kind of differentiate themselves from the thins. People can invent, with the traction of the fat acceptance movement, there are people that are like, well, I understand that, and I'm not there, but I'm not really skinny either, and therefore I'm mid-size. I think the whole thing is kind of dumb. But that's just my opinion. It doesn't really matter. Someone can create something called mid-size that is completely separate, because this was just something someone on the internet created. This was, it says, used on the fat lip. I don't remember who put together. You know what? Several said it was created by Ash of the Fat Lip. Ash of the Fat Lip podcast was created by Leslie Kinzel. So there's apparently a cheeky version of Infinifat. The term was created, so that was like the super fat or death fat or something that was coined by Leslie. But so the term Infinifat was created by Ash of the Fat Lip. So sadly, this is in Teen Vogue. That hurts. So mid-size, in-betweeny, mid-size, small fat, as the name implies. Also known, so Lane Bryant fat is term coined by Roxanne Gray. No loose, supersized caucus was what popularized super fat. So these terms was an amalgamation of terms that were coined by, from the sounds of it, a couple of different places and a couple of different people. And then someone put them all together. From the sound of it, it wasn't even like official, this was how we're going to designate it. It seems like it was just kind of put together after the fact. This isn't proof, sweetheart.
Fat spectrum starts at size 18 and then goes all the way up to the biggest size possible. Anyone below a size 18 is straight size. If you can shop in a mall, at home, no matter how hard it is for you to find clothing, if you can shop at a mall, not in like a Torrid or a specifically plus-size store like Pennington's, you are straight size. Might be difficult finding clothing, sure, but that's because the average person is bigger now. More people needing that size means less options. It's not because they don't make clothes for you, like what happens with fat people, size 18 and up. If you can shop at American Eagle, you're straight size. Because I think they only make up to an 18 now, which is pathetic.
So again, this whole thing just reads as something she took from someone else and is just parroting back. I don't know. I realize that I probably haven't been as critical of MiracleMegs as I have been, or at least not in the same way as I've been of other creators, but that's because she strikes me as this type of what I think the majority of fat acceptance movement is, and it's these young women that aren't really considering, or we'll even just say young people, although I think it's primarily women, that she doesn't really, and I think MiracleMegs is kind of exemplary of this, where it feels like she's just grabbing sound bites and grabbing little bits of pieces off the internet, presenting it as fact and thinking that she's right. And it's like, that's not the way that works. Saying that mid-size doesn't exist and I'll prove it to you, and putting out the fatness spectrum, which was created with different terms that were coined by different people, and then someone just eventually put them all together, does not make it like the official body of what size terms can be. Like, it doesn't, honey. So that one was the last one related to fat acceptance, and then we have some stuff on the Try Guys and an issue she had with the Jubilee video. I think I kind of covered this in the last video, but I'm just going to give my final thoughts here. I think MiracleMegs is someone that heard the different sound bites, liked the way they sounded, and has internalized it as an ideology that is ultimately incomplete, even by fat acceptance standards. And she just kind of parrots back those things. She strikes me as someone that heard these sound bites, internalized it as an ideology without any nuance whatsoever, and it's just been parroting back. And it seems like she's still in a very young mindset of someone presents this thing as true. Like, I guess I say young mindset. I guess the better way to phrase it, now that I've watched all these, is uncritical. She has an uncritical mindset. There are critical mindset people in the fat acceptance movement. I ultimately disagree with them because I feel like they are either misrepresenting data or just like staunchly. It's not that they're looking at it uncritically, it's that they're in like complete fucking denial. I don't think that's MiracleMegs. I think she is, and those like what 4 videos on eating stuff. She started this channel at the end of April, and it is now October 7th at the time of this recording. It just seems like that's all that we've really seen of it, and I'm not denying that she probably has some issue with food, but I don't think that it's specifically just food. I think it generalizes and rotates around, because we saw that thing with her sleep issues, and then it moved to food, and then it moved to kind of like this self-perception issue, and so it feels like just a generalized anxiety. I don't know if it's just anxiety that is like untreated or not treated well enough, or if it's a result of her medications or what have you, but it seems like she needs there to be a boogeyman because she has this anxiety and she doesn't know what to do with it, and it's bouncing around everywhere. Because a lot of it goes to either food or her insecurity, she gets placed in this fat liberation, has a few sound bites that sound good to her and make her feel better, maybe quell some of that anxiety for her. And so it becomes this thing that she latches onto to kind of cope with her anxiety. That's kind of what I get from it. That is what I've gotten from her TikTok. Feel free to disagree with me, and especially on the bit with like those weird videos and the potential eating disorder. I really don't know what to make of that. I'm really not trying to be a bitch, and I'm not trying to say that she doesn't actually have an eating disorder. She may very well. I don't know. There wasn't really enough there for me to have a strong opinion either way, but I don't feel like the eating disorder is the core of her issue. I feel like the eating disorder, if anything, is a symptom of something else, if that makes sense. It feels more like it's not just the eating disorder. Like the eating disorder stems from the bigger anxiety issues. And she holds tightly to that fat liberation as a way to quell her anxiety. And so that is why she is such a fierce fighter for it, because without it, she has to deal with her anxiety. That is my perspective of MiracleMegs. Let me know what you thought of this video. This was very long. We are ending this at an hour and a half of raw footage. A lot of this is going to be cut. But I'm going to leave it here. Some quick updates. I forgot to weigh myself. I'm doing this Friday night instead of Saturday morning because I have something planned for Saturday morning. So, god damn it. I forgot to weigh myself this morning, and I don't want to go weigh myself now because I already ate dinner and have been drinking a bunch of water. But there's that. There's some family fucking drama going on over stupid shit. And I won't get into that right now. And mostly I've been, like, cleaning this past week. But I have gotten some sub jobs, so I'm getting some more experience that way. And that's about all I have. I really don't... My life is very boring this week, because I had this, like, issue where I had the beginnings of an ear infection. I was trying to treat it because I don't want to be on another antibiotic. For me, not that anyone has asked for it, but I'm very infection prone. After every cold or flu I get either an ear infection, sinus infection, or pneumonia. And I went like, 15 years, where every fucking year I needed an antibiotic, at least one round, if not multiple rounds, depending on how many times I got sick or the sinus issues that I had. And I managed to avoid needing an antibiotic for the second year in a row, and I'm so fucking happy. I'm going to end it here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.